The film look isn't about looking cool. It's about building content that commands attention even when you're saying nothing. I don't shoot cinematic videos to impress people. I do it because high standards bleed into everything I do. Your edits, your offers, your clients' trust. This video is a breakdown of the actual mechanics behind the film look and how to master it. And most importantly, why it matters if you want to sell, scale, or stand out. Why the film look matters. In a content world full of fast, forgettable content, cinematic visuals slow people down. They hit different. They don't just look good, they signal value. They make people stop, watch longer, and most importantly, trust you faster. Because when your video feels premium, your message hits harder, even before a single word is said. And once you internalize that, the real question becomes, how do you build that standard into your content? Let's break it down. Lighting. Control the mood, not just the brightness. Lighting is where the cinematic vibe begins, and that's the way to break or make your video. How to master it. Use soft light to create intimate cinematic feel, right? Shape with shadows to add depth and dimension. Control direction of lighting. Once your lighting sets the mood, the next layer is emotional tone. Color grading. Set the tone before you speak. Your colors tell a story instantly. Your grading turns raw footage into something intentional. How to master it. Lock in white balance before you shoot. Before you go into color grading, you need to make sure, first, is your exposure set properly? Is your white balance set properly? If those things aren't set, when you go to color in post, it's gonna look horrible. It's gonna be too green, too purple, okay? Gonna have no information in the shadows and no information in the highlights. So, color grading starts before you even start filming. Once you get onto that actual process, adjust contrast and warmth to set the emotional tone, whatever you're trying to push ahead. If you're trying to push a cold scene, make it blue. If you're trying to put some warm emotions, make it yellow. Create a recognizable palette that your audience associates with you. When you scroll my Instagram, you can see it's super warm, it's super saturated and contrasted. They know that that's my vibe. Okay, what's yours? If you want to know how to color grade properly, create your recognizable palette, create that cinematic feel, there's a link down below for the Creators HQ, okay? It's where me and my community of high-performing creators go when we're trying to learn. My school program, link down below. But now let's talk about, with your tone in place, let's move to motion. Frame rate, shutter speed, feel like film, not a phone. Here's where most creators get exposed. Cinematic motion isn't a filter. I can't believe how many questions, DMs I get, people asking me what filter am I using. It's not a filter. It's a feeling you create. It's technical. And here's how to master it. You want to make sure you're shooting at 24 frames per second for that traditional film look. You see how my hand's waving? Right? That's because it's very natural. It looks very pleasing. Well, a lot of people make the same mistake when they go to shoot with their phone. They shoot at 60 FPS because it looks smoother. You don't need smoother. You need more realistic. That's how shit looks cinematic. That's 24 frames per second. To match that, now you need the correct shutter speed for a natural motion blur. The whole, you've got the frames per second, you've got the shutter speed. When it comes to shutter speed, here's the rule of thumb. Just twice your frames, okay? Or set it to 180 degrees. This is very complicated, but like I said, if you are actually interested in learning how to create cinematic content, how to grade log footage, and how to create a cinematic story within your content, check down below for the Creators HQ. Trust me, it's exactly what you need. It took me years to learn all this terminology. But in the Creators HQ, I'll take you from knowing nothing about a camera, even what ISO means, to being able to use power grades in every single content that you shoot. But let's move on, okay? If you want to guide the eye even deeper in your content, you need control over focus, depth of field, blur your backgrounds, focus on attention. Cinematic blur isn't just an aesthetic, guys. It's psychological. It tells the viewer exactly what matters. Here's how you master that. You need a low f-stop. Right now, I'm shooting this at 2.2 on a 50mm. You see how the background is quite blurry, but I'm in focus? That's because of the low f-stop. I could go lower. I could go to 1.8, 1.4, 1.2 and make it even more cinematic. But then there's problems that associate with that. When you have a low f-stop, you're letting in a lot of light It's too bright. Right now I'm shooting, the sun's out. I don't want it too bright. Like I said, there's more in-depth information in the Creators HQ, but all you need to know for now from this video is that the lower the f-stop, the more space between who you are and the background. Tight shots feel more focused and personal when you keep that f-stop pretty low. But one final piece, okay? How you frame your shot is super important. Good composition is quite authoritative. Composition, movement. Direct the eye like a filmmaker. It shows the viewer this was designed, it wasn't winged. Okay, there's a specific reason why I have those trees right now on the third line on my camera, and that corner on the third line, and me on the first line, okay? And the edge of the pool on the bottom horizontal line. All these things matter composition-wise, which I said I go through in the Creators HQ. So if you are actually interested, check that out. But here's how you master it. Use the rule of thirds. I just told you what thirds I'm using right now. Add foreground objects if you want to be creative. Cinematic design right there. Cinematic depth. When you layer all of these little components, you get a delicate balance between lighting, tone, motion, focus, frame. Your content doesn't just look good, it becomes persuasive. Hey guys, it's not just a filter. It's very calculated, it's very psychological. A lot of people come to me asking me how to create this. Everything we covered in this video is just bare surface level, guys. There's so much to go into it. How does ISO play into how your content looks? We talked about 24 frames per second, but there are instances where we would shoot at 120. There are instances where we would shoot at 60. There are instances where how do you expose correctly when you're shooting in log? There's so many more questions to answer that I can't do in one video. From lighting angles to color grades, from what lenses to use to framing strategy. It's part of a bigger system, and I teach this entire system in the Creators HQ. That's my private school community built for ambitious creators who are done guessing and making mistakes and ready to execute with discipline. If you're serious about getting into content, building a premium content that converts clients, hit the link below, join Creators HQ today. All right, thank you for watching. Stay hard, stay handsome, and I'll catch you later.